Hi guys, so I hope this works. I am getting ready to record a PowerPoint for your class to talk about the Convergence Project and the paper, the research paper. Let me, if I can open this up correctly. I'm going to go to screen share and I have a PowerPoint ready. And let me just get it opened up and set up for you. So this project is project 2. It's called the Convergence Project, Master Modern Drawing versus Contemporary Drawing. What I want you to do is you're also going to do a research paper, and I would like to talk to you about that also. So the research paper is basically going to be you looking through art history, finding an old master, an artist that's passed on, and finding some work that is uh, basically related to the drawing mediums that you've been exploring. So it could be charcoal and graphite, or it can be colored pencils or pastels or inks. I don't want it to merge into like oil painting or anything like that. So keep it in kind of the area that we've been researching this semester. But it's a really the project is going to be very free for all of you. I mean, that you're going to be very experimental, I should say. So there is, like I said, there's a paper, and the paper is going to be based on an old master versus a contemporary artist that is new and here in this time period. You guys are contemporary artists, by the way, but these are artists. I want you to look for artists that you can actually find information about, that they're not just, don't just rely on like Pinterest or something, I'm thinking art history, contemporary artists that are making work right now that you can find articles about or something like that. So you're going to research and you're going to find 2 artists that you really like their work. And you're going to write a research paper, but it's only 2 pages of like formal drawing. Formal writing. And the other 2 pages will be more of like just kind of finding images, doing sketches, jotting down ideas, and doing just little random thoughts and thinking and free writing, things like that. So 2 pages will be filled with that kind of thing, images, ideas, and then 2 pages will be your paper that's a formal paper where you're going to compare these 2 artists. And I mean, you can compare the 2 artists, but you can also talk about your process and how you combine them and what you were thinking of. I mean, you could take 1 page and write about the master artist and the contemporary artist, and then you could take 1 page and write about your ideas, your thoughts, your triumphs, your struggles, what you were trying to do, and what you were thinking about when you were doing this. Okay, so let's go into the PowerPoint now. So I want to show you some artists that, these are old masters. We're going to begin with old masters and then move on to contemporary artists. So I have like some different artists that I like, and I usually add a little bit every semester. And here's one. Here's one of my favorite artists, is Leonardo da Vinci. This is a self-portrait. It was painted in 1512 using a red chalk, like a Conti. I believe you guys have Conti. When Leonardo was about 50 years old, living in France. And it's just interesting. Anyways, I want you to look at, I wonder if that's a typo, because he lived in Italy, not in France. I have to research that. Um, anyway, so let's look at this image. If you can see, the paper is tinted. I don't know if that's because it's aged or if that was just the color, but I know you can purchase paper this color, or you can actually, you could create a tint on your paper. But just thinking if this was something that you would like to use. This is the Vitruvian Man by Leonardo da Vinci again. It is a pen and ink wash drawing on paper with a metal point accompanied by handwritten notes. In the drawing, there are 2 Male figures are superimposed upon each other. The figures are shown with arms and legs extended in differing degrees of extension. In addition to the anatomical and artistic value of the Vitruvian Man drawing, mathematicians have studied the drawing extensively and found numerous proportional rules and formulas in Da Vinci's work. The drawing aligns to the octagon, which serves as a geometric framework for the proportions of the human body. He's a beautiful draftsman. If you look at his work, it's just beautiful. And it's interesting because during the Renaissance, what we saw was when Constantinople had collapsed, right? And then a lot of people from that had escaped, and when they escaped, they came with writings by ancient Greek and Roman, and that was during the Renaissance time when um, there were lots of ideas, new ideas had began to emerge with that time period. Whereas possibly before, if we think about before, it was mostly just religious art that you would see. The patron was the church, the Catholic Church, the Roman Catholic Church, and then but then we had actually very well-off people that had acquired, not just the church, it would acquire these manuscripts, but the Medicis were an example of a family that was very well-off, and they had a lot of power, and they also acquired these different writings and ancient writings. And so somehow this would begin to merge in with the art. And it was a very idealized realism, but perspective was the big thing that came in around that time. This is also by Leonardo da Vinci, the study of the head of Leda, 1505 to 7. It's very beautiful, the markings. The study of Sephora Monument, 1488 to 9. These are drawings that, so what would happen if you were to do your project? Maybe one of these drawings that you really liked. And so Leonardo da Vinci, you would use one of these drawings, and then you'll find, and he will be your artist, your master artist, and then you would find a contemporary artist. And somehow you could sit them alongside each other. And I'll talk more about the design later on and as we go towards the end of this PowerPoint. But you could also just stand, one could be on one side of your drawing. So you take a large sheet of drawing and you could split it in half and say this drawing of this horse might be on one side, and on the other side would be the contemporary artist or other. There's so many different ways that you can do this. I mean, you can really be free in your thoughts and ideas on how you want to design the layout of your piece, okay? But these are just my way of just kind of giving you examples of artists that I really like that are old masters. Here's another old master. This is Albert Durr. Incredibly beautiful. So these are artists that I'm showing you work, but if you research them, you might find just other drawings and that you really like. And so I'm just kind of giving you a little tiny taste. Albert Durr is just an incredible high Renaissance artist, just amazing draftsman, right? You look at his work, it's incredible. At this time, the printing press had been invented. So they were making printing up imagery and things like that. And the Bible would be printed. Martin Luther would post the proclamation and his that you didn't, because once the printing press was invented, what happened is these are like these machines, right? The printing press was an incredible machine that changed everything, and Bibles were being printed, and people previously before that didn't really know how to read. It was, you could only hear the Bible from the priest, right? And maybe someone who was very, very wealthy. But at this time now, here the Bible's being printed, it's very inexpensive, and people are learning to read, and they're realizing that, you know what, we don't necessarily have to go to the priest, right? The Bible says, it says in Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, whatever. And so this was going on during Albert Durr's time, right? Which is really interesting. Beautiful, beautiful work. You know, if you're really interested, check out some of his work. This is more of his work. And this Michelangelo, Italian art Renaissance artist, during the same time that Leonardo da Vinci was around. You know, Michelangelo was the one that painted the Sistine Chapel, but these are some of his drawings. More of his drawings. Raphael, I believe he was a high Renaissance artist. Raphael Sanzo da Urbano, known as Raphael, was an Italian painter and architect of the high Renaissance. Okay. It's beautiful, right? So if you were to do something like this, then I would think that you would tone the paper. I mean, it looks like it's probably like an ink and chalk, possibly, and or you know maybe like a Conti with and you might want to like I might tone the paper in a tone, and or you can actually purchase paper that's kind of this color, and then you could tone the rest. And when you're doing your master copy and your convergence project where you converge, you know, a master and a contemporary, you may just decide that, okay, I only want to do this part right here. This I don't know if you can see this, but I only want to do like one quarter of this drawing, or maybe just this image of this man with the book in his hands. And I just want to do that. You know, you can decide, or maybe you want to do just a couple pieces. And the only thing I'm asking is that when you do your drawing, that it is accurate, that I can see the same kind of marks. I can locate where that came from, but you can pick pieces out, right? You can literally pick pieces out and just use certain pieces in a piece of art if you want. It's up to you. Here's some more drawings. Beautiful, right? And this again is a toned paper. So you can purchase, like, I believe it's pastel paper you can get. If you go to Allard's, they have lots and lots of paper. It's really fun. You might want to find like a full piece of paper and then put another piece of paper on part of it, and then do a drawing like this, and then on the other part do your contemporary drawing. I mean, it's really up to you. It's very creative. This is Vincent van Gogh. I love Vincent van Gogh. So we have post-impressionist artist Vincent William van Gogh, Dutch, who was a Dutch post-impressionist painter whose work had far-reaching influence on the 20th century art. His output includes portraits, self-portraits, landscapes, still lifes, olive trees and cypresses, wheat fields and sunflowers. Beautiful. Look at all these marks that he's making, right? Just fun though, right? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work. These are some of my favorite artists. I already told you that. Here's some more. This is actually Vincent van Gogh also. You didn't know he was such a great drawer, did you? Really amazing. Let's keep going. All right, this is Edgar Degas. If we look at the work of Edgar Degas, we see he's a really amazing. I love this. So this, like I said, it's some of my favorite artists. Edgar Degas is no different. So he was a French artist, famous for his paintings, sculptures, prints, and drawings. Degas is especially identified with the subject of dance. More than half of his work depicted dancers. He's regarded as one of the founders of Impressionism. Although he rejected the term, preferring to be called a realist, he was a superb draftsman and particularly masterly in depicting movement, as can be seen in his renditions of dancers, race courses, subjects, and female nudes. His portraits were notable for their psychological complexity and for their portrayal of the human isolation. I mean, he's incredibly gifted. Here again, we've just an incredibly gifted draftsman and artist, and you can see it in his work. And he was funny. It's a really funny guy. It's kind of one of those kind of sarcastic, a little bit bitter kind of people. I have a book. I got to get it out of storage because it just made me laugh, because he had a friend that was hanging out with him and he would write whatever Degas did. And Degas was just one of those people, you know, that you meet and they just are they're mean, but they're dry and they're kind of funny. And they have like these little, you know, kind of insightful things. That was him. So anyway, he's another artist that you might want to look at. And here's, oh gosh, look at this. This is some of his drawings. Are they not beautiful? Look at this dancer. Wow. You know, the dancers were considered kind of like prostitutes then. I'm not really sure what the deal was. It's really sad, but I mean, his drawings are just so beautiful, so gorgeous. And I mean, this is on again, this is on a tinted paper, and this is charcoal, you know. Um, this is Kate Kollwitz. She's a German expressionist artist. So during World War I and World War II, Kate Kollwitz was unusual. It's an unusual. She was a female artist. You know, you don't see very many female artists. There are some, but at that time it was just males, and that was it. It's just that's the way it was. But Kate Kollwitz is a little bit different. So she comes from a family that I would say that they were strong middle class. You know, I think there's ministers and workers, but they were more socialist, I think, and but more idealistic. She was taught art. She had private lessons, I think, most of her life, her and her sister. And then she marries a doctor, and she actually has a studio right next door to his doctor's office. But her work is about the people. So she creates all this work. She's really for the people and looking at the suffering of people, and just really looking at what was going on. And sadly enough, during World War I and World War II, I can't remember the exact date, but both her son and I think a nephew, maybe more than that, were killed. A lot of really sad things. I think about her sometimes when, you know, you think about how do people make work in spite of whatever's going on, you know, and through adversity, how do they continue to make artwork? Here's a piece that she did. This is of a woman with her son, and I believe it is you might be one of these pieces you would compare to you know, the famous sculpture of Jesus with Mary with Jesus in her arms, you know, off when they take him off the cross, the Pieta. And here we have this image, and it said there's a story that she used her own son, as the model, and she made him model for her, and then he would eventually die, which I imagine that kind of really tore at her heart. But there's a lot of suffering. She's really famous for being very expressive. It's more of her images. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Andrew Wyeth is another master. He passed away sometime in 2000. I can't really exactly remember, but here's another famous. So these are all my favorite artists that I'm sharing with you. I love his work so much. I mean, I was just really obsessed with him for years and just stared at his work and looked at his drawings. And it's he did all his work in the same area where he grew up, and it kind of has this haunting, lonely feeling to it. And this is a model that her name was Helga, and he did this years later. I remember it was like before you guys were born. I think it was in the 80s, and there was a big oh gosh, it was just like this shocking event. Come to find out, he had hundreds and hundreds of drawings of this woman who no one knew. His wife didn't know that he'd been drawing. It was called the Helga series, and he'd been secretly drawing all these years, and the wife was like his manager, and she didn't even supposedly know about it. And anyways, and so these are, I think he ends up drawing her, and maybe he draws her mother, and he draws her daughter, and but mainly her. And here's some of her images. Just really beautiful. Look at the landscape, just gorgeous. So this is Charlie White, and African American, I believe from I think he taught, I want to say he taught in LA, and he also was a professor in Texas. His work is very expressive. Look at the hands are really big, and there's a lot of movement. He has a lot of charcoal drawings, and I saw a retrospective of his work in Chicago at the Art Institute. Was it 2018? I believe it was I think it was 2018 or 2017. I can't quite remember, but it was just amazing. And he's just so brilliant, and his work is so powerful. More pieces by him. It's beautiful. You see the expression, you know, the hands moving close to you, so they're bigger, larger than life, and then pulling back, you know, the face. This is okay. So now, so those were all master copies, and now we're going to enter into contemporary. Now, if you find your own master, go for it. You know, you're whatever you want. So I'm just giving you examples to show you that, because you're going to look for an old master and then you're going to look for a contemporary. You're going to write your research paper, just 2 pages, you know, on it, and you'll have like 2 pages to put like your sketches, your rough ideas, your thoughts, images on 2 pages, and then you'll just write a 2-page paper. And I mean, I don't want you to make it super, super hard, you know, have fun with it. Don't don't let it stress you out. But my point with this paper is that I wanted to inform you for your art, because you have to make this kind of art, what I'm asking you to make, you need to understand the idea of the artist a little bit, their thoughts, what they were doing, where they were, what was happening at that time, what were they thinking. I want you to analyze these guys. So now we have some contemporary artists, and we're going to start with Martin Wilner. Okay. He's born in New York City, 1959. He began to make art in the 1990s after previously studying medicine and working as a practicing psychoanalyst. He lives and works in New York. A key body of work by Wilner is his Journal of Evidence Weekly, which stems directly from a feverish dream in which he dreamt that he was about to miss a deadline for a periodical of the same name. As a practicing psychiatrist, Wilner proceeded to self-analyze the dream associatively. His first association was to the acronym of the periodical, which was JEW. As a child of Jewish Holocaust survivors, he realized that there was a great personal significance to this dreamed reference to responsibility in history. He chose to bring the dream into reality by creating an ongoing series of books of drawings executed entirely while he was in transit, primarily in the subterranean realm of the New York City subway system. How interesting, right? So let's look at his work. So these are kind of trippy. So I want you to look him up if you're interested. It's kind of cartoony, but interesting and deep, and, you know, and maybe all kinds of thoughts are mixed in there. It says, what does it say? First Proof Bomb, issue 103. Okay, here's another one of his pieces. Kind of trippy, right? Another one of his pieces. Just like this, I had told you earlier, maybe it's just a part of this piece that you want to do. Maybe it's just this square right here, and maybe this frog, you know, I don't know if that's a frog, whatever it is, you know, that you might want to pop in your drawing, and you're going to mix this drawing. And it's kind of trippy because you're going to mix it with your old master and your contemporary, and always making sure that you're loyal to the marks of the artist, but at the same time you're creating something that is your own. My idea was this, is that as you're doing this research and you're thinking and you're processing and you're pondering and you're looking at the marks that they're making, that this is all going inside your mind, right? And it somehow gets inside your brain, and then it comes back out as you draw it. And what comes out, it doesn't have to be lined up perfectly. It can be, you know, really free and expressive. So this is another artist. His name is Dryden Gooden. Dryden Gooden is a British artist known for his intricate drawings, often in combination with photography, film, large-scale screen-based installations, and soundtracks. Central to Dryden Gooden's practice is a fascination with drawing. However, the ways in which he explores this age-old practice are anything but traditional. These are really cool. And this is actually a photograph that he's drawn on top of. You could do something like that. I would be fine with that. Here we have some more of his drawings. And this is Claude Heath, another artist, very interesting. This is like thinking of music and thinking of movement. More of Claude Heath's work. Charles Avery. Gemma Anderson. Jeanette Barnes. Benedict Carpenter, Kara Walker, great American artist here. Shizi Sakander, I'm sure I messed that up. Beautiful work. Frank Albuck, William Kinchich, South African artist. And then we come to David Sally. So David Sally is a painter, but the reason I wanted to introduce you to his work, I think they say Sally. Did I say Sally? I think I say it incorrectly. But anyways, I'm introducing you to his work I want you to look at the way that he designs his paintings. And using this idea to kind of help you on what you can do when you mix a contemporary artist and a old master. So if you look at this frame right here, so we have like kind of a squarish rectangle, and he's divided the bottom is a little bit more, it looks like it's almost maybe 1/3. It would have been 1/3, 1/3, but it looks like 2/3 and 1/3. And you can kind of see these two different images. One of the tricks that he does is there's a contrasting value that's happening if you look at this value versus this value. So then you can see that change. But I mean, that's a thought, just to let you know, you're very free to create your own design. And I hope you listen to me when I'm giving you this and you've taken the time to watch this, because it's very important that you know that you can be very expressive and you can design it however you want. There's no wrong, okay? Here's another one. So then he's divided the images like this. He's put 3. So like you could have like, okay, let's pretend that this is the old master and these two are the contemporary. I don't know. And you can do that. And you could have 2 images from the contemporary artist. Now his are paintings, and you're doing drawings. You just have to remember that yours is a drawing. But you can do ink, and you can do washes and pastels or colored pencils or charcoals or graphite, you name it. So this is an interesting where he's mixing in, like he's got this is one whole piece, right? But he has this piece here, and then he's got one piece and then another piece on top, and he's got one free form right here, and then there's this piece of the dog inside here. So you can do that. You can be really creative with how you want to do, like you could break a painting apart and have different pieces from that one painting, okay? So that's a thought. Here's another one where he's doing this again. He's divided 2 images, and then he's taken these little pieces and put them in there. And that's why I'm using him. I just want you to kind of get this idea of how you can break up the space of your drawing that you're doing, okay? We're gonna have another one. This is really cool, like it. This is really nice. So you can see how he uses the change in the value to really create that shift, right? And it's pops in your eye. So different things to think about. Some more of the same thing. And that's the end of the show. Okay. So I want everyone to know that you can really be creative with this project. And if you have any questions, reach out to me, send me an email. We can jump on Zoom, or you can even call me and I'll give you my number and we can talk about your ideas if you want. Get in and start looking at these artists. You need to work pretty fast, okay? So sometime during this break, even I would start working on the project, and that will give you, could give you, you have like what's today's date? It's the 23rd, 7. You have about 2 weeks to finish all of this. And I think you can do it. I really do. Anyways, that's it. And I hope you have fun with this project. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.